Welcome to the Mounting Block. I'm Oriel.
And I'm Marissa.
We're here talking horses, life, business and motherhood.
And how to hold it all together without completely losing the plot.
Expect honest chats, real stories and plenty of laughs.
Plus a few hot takes and unfiltered opinions. Let's get a leg over and get into it.
Welcome back, everyone.
It's been a hot minute.
It has.
Because we've got lots to talk about,
we
don't
have
we?
so much to talk about.
It's been a busy week.
It's been a busy few weeks, actually.
It has, which is very exciting.
So you first.
Me first? Okay.
She's got the big news.
I do. Well, last time we spoke, I had secured the purchase of the beautiful Gypsy Cob.
Yes.
She is now in the paddock.
She's in the paddock.
And her name is Shiloh.
Yeah.
She is rising 7 and a total lover.
Oh, she's a love bug, isn't she?
Yeah. She will not take her eyes off me when I'm there.
Yeah.
And but it was quite a treacherous journey, actually, because the transport company, after they'd picked her up, won't name names, just texted me and said, we can only get her to Mount Tyson, which is at the back of Toowoomba. Yeah. And she'll be staying up there for like 3 or 4 nights. And I was like, absolutely not.
A tiny stable, freezing cold.
Absolutely not. This horse has just been taken away from her family that she's been with since she was 9 months old.
Yeah.
So a good friend of mine convinced me to take the float up and do the journey. And to say my anxiety was at its peak on the Friday morning we embarked on this journey would be understating. Yeah. I wanted to vomit. I was so nervous. Because of a couple of reasons. One, it was a brand new horse I'd never floated.
Yep.
Secondly, I've never done anything over probably 15 minutes of floating. Haven't ever gone on a highway.
Yep.
And there's a thing called a Toowoomba bypass, which is down a huge mountain
range.
Which I was literally going to bed dreaming about like fishtailing off the side of it, and it was really, really bad. Anyway, I did a lot of research. My husband took me for a drive up and down hills. And
you actually had to go into neutral, right? So it wasn't just driving up and down hills and using a brake. You actually had to...
Yeah, flick it over because everyone was saying you can't ride your brakes down it. You'll burn them out and they won't work. So
no worries.
Yeah, no worries. So needless to say, we made it back safely. She floated beautifully. I did do that. I flicked it over into neutral and pulled the car back into third and let it hold in rev. And then I was just such a dork. I'd count for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the brake, and then I'd release it. I had B-double trucks overtaking me. Flame. I was probably going about 70 Ks in 100 zone, but I did not care. Yeah. And then when we got to the bottom, I think my hands stopped shaking eventually. Yeah. But she was a dream, thank goodness. At one point, about an hour into the journey, I was like, is she alive in there?
Can't hear any stamping, no movement.
Anything. And then she did a little paw on the ground. I was like, oh, okay, good, she's there. Yeah. And then, so we got her home safely and she's settled in really, really well. I've had a couple of rides on her so far. Yeah. And she's just a real delight. We've got a bit of work to do and a bit of, learning about each other. It's really interesting when you get on a new horse. And I've been riding so many different horses that, you've got to be so soft with your leg to figure out how much leg you need to use and what the aids are and just figuring that out about her. But I'm taking it slowly and
it's the best thing to do.
Yeah. We've done a couple of little outings with you and Delaney and hopefully soon I'll have the confidence to do a trail.
Yep.
I just need her to be able to stop. Well, she stops, just stay stopped. So that's planting her feet and staying and being okay with that is where I'd really like to get comfortable with before I take her out into the wild bush.
Into the wild of Anstead Reserve.
Yes, exactly. But it's it's been so nice. And she allows me to cuddle and drape all over her.
Such a love bug.
She
is beautiful.
She's actually almost a little bit too in your pocket.
Yeah.
She came up to the shed door the other day and shoved her head through it and was like moving the door back and forth. And I was like, we not? But she's a real sweetie. So yay,
we're there. And what a journey it's been on.
Oh my goodness, it has been. And all roads had to lead to this beautiful mare. And it was so funny. If I had have thought about my dream horse, it would have been a grey mare.
Yeah.
And
this is what you've got.
That's what I got. So Perseverance, everybody.
Yep, and for those of you who have been following along with the journey, you'll know what a journey it has been.
Yes.
Yep,
yes.
we've talked about this a bit, how much resilience Marissa's had to have to get through this.
And overcoming fear, a lot of fear, because going and riding unknown horses and trusting people and all that sort of stuff. I mean, there were some anxious moments along the way, and I think my confidence in that took a shake, certainly along the way. And so, I just have to rebuild. But I have faith in that. I think she's the right horse to do that with me.
Yep.
And just getting that trust with her like you have with Lainey, which brings us to your news because you had a killer weekend.
Yes. Did a pony club event.
You did. You are now an official eventer.
Well.
Yes, you are.
Well, I'm not sure that we quite.
Oriel wanted to be an eventer. She competed in her first event, which for those who don't ride is when you do dressage, you do a show jumping round and you do a cross-country round in one competition.
In one competition, yes.
And you did it.
So we did the dressage. We did okay in the dressage on the first day. And then the second day we had the cross-country and the show jumping. Now, for those of you who ride, I did the very smallest jumps I could.
No, you didn't. There was a level below in the cross country.
There was a level below. Yes. No, that's true.
Yeah,
there was.
You didn't. You did the second lowest.
We did
or the third highest, whichever way you want to look at it.
That's true. In this particular event. Yes, there was. Yeah, that was. So we did the 45. And we did, there was a couple of sections in the course because this was a pony club one, it was a little bit more relaxed.
Yes.
There was a couple of sections in the course where I might have walked down a very steep hill. Yeah. I might have walked over a jump because it was down a very steep hill. I was like, there's no way I'm jumping over that.
It was quite a steep hill, yeah.
But we finished it. We did it.
You did amazing. And your smile at the end of that cross-country course was unbelievable. Like you were just so happy.
So I was happy then, and then I was, this is not from Marissa, this is for everybody that's listening. I was then watching the video that Marissa had taken of me doing this cross-country horse, and I can hear her saying, oh, my God, I'm so proud of you. Oh, my God, look what you just did. Oh, I'm so proud of you. I've got goosebumps. I'm so proud of you. That was the background to the video. It was so beautiful listening to it.
I couldn't help it. I just was like, you couldn't have, wipe the smile off my face watching you. I just know what you've been through, to get there and to actually be okay with doing it, just signing up and actually getting on your horse's back and doing it.
Well, I nearly thought it's all too hard. I might not.
Yeah, because you're solo parenting as well. You had your two kids in tow. You're floating your horse back and forward. You're tacking up. You're getting onto a competition. Like, hello, it's a lot.
It was a lot, but it was great. And then I did the jump round and I did do the lowest one. I just did the cross rails, which is about 30 centimetres, 35 centimetres. And that was great.
Yeah,
that was
and you
really
had
good.
such a cheer squad, all the young girls.
Fabulous, 3 of them, 15-year-old girls that were just were just right by my side. They were beautiful girls.
Yeah.
And, just going, oh, come on, you can do this. This is what you need to do. And these are girls that jump 95 a metre.
Yes.
They're very experienced, very good riders, and they were literally holding my hand, my 52-year-old hand, the whole way, beautiful. Cheering me on every time I went over these tiny little jumps on my massive horse. We were like, whoa, go Oriel.
Yeah, it was so gorgeous.
It was fabulous.
Yeah, and I think those sort of events, I mean, the reason they do them is for that exact reason, for people to have an experience of doing an event, but actually in a really safe environment without all the pressure and all that sort of stuff. So it definitely did that. It achieved that for you, hey?
Yep, it was fabulous.
It was so good. So yay, we now have an eventer in the family.
I'm going to hold off on calling myself an event quite yet, but
what's the definition?
Well, I don't know. I suppose someone that did an event. I did an event.
Exactly. There you go. I'm calling you an eventer now because this is a goal that you had. So I think we just have to appreciate the goal that you have achieved.
Yes.
And then you move up from that point.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was so wonderful. And that beautiful horse of yours just took such good care of you.
He's amazing.
He was like, I got this. Yeah. Don't even worry.
Yeah. He was like, why are we going so slowly, Mummy?
Yes. Yeah. Can we go into Kenton? No. Okay. I'll just keep trotting. That's fine.
Why are we trotting before the jumps? Why are we slowing down before the jumps?
But he, as soon as you turned your body, he just knew where he had to go.
Yeah, he did.
He's really, really got it.
Yeah.
So yay, that's been our update. Yay. How exciting.
And now we have the fabulous Fiona Spence to chat to.
Yeah, so this time we're talking to her about narcissists.
Yeah, we did mention this, for those of you who have listened to the podcast, last time we spoke to Fiona, this did come up a couple of times, how to deal with it. And we did promise at that point we would do a conversation on that because I think it's worth it for anyone that might be dealing with that in their lives.
And it's also a term that's getting thrown around a lot, and actually understanding the definition of a narcissist and, rather than, I guess, accusational sort of, commentary around it. So it would be, I think it's going to be really interesting to have this chat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's bring Fiona
Bring her in. And here she is.
Welcome back to Fiona.
Welcome, Fiona. It's wonderful to have you back with us.
Good to see you both again.
I know we just talked about the fact that, we promised our viewers and our listeners that we would talk about narcissism. I'm sure that there are many of them out there who have dealt with narcissists in their lives, but I think Marissa made a really good point.
Yeah, just to understand, I mean, I think the term is thrown around a lot and it can be sent out as an insult and, I guess probably categorizing people quite quickly as a narcissist, but it'd be really interesting to know what actually is a narcissist. How do we define that?
Excellent question, right? Because there are a lot of sort of definitions, but I think really it's someone who generally manipulates a lot. So we're not talking about once in a while where they're trying to get somebody to do a little something for them because they've got a bit of a cold. Oh, who could that be? But we're talking about somebody who has this pattern of manipulating other people. And they generally do it because they have this excessive need to control or to be admired or to be validated. So it's usually one of those three things: control, admiration, or validation that's driving their manipulative behavior.
Yeah, okay.
It's something, isn't it, that I don't know quite how to put this, but not everybody necessarily realizes that they're dealing with a narcissist because they don't necessarily realize that they're being manipulated. Is that fair? Like, it's not always that obvious to the person that's happening to.
Very much so. And, this starts right from the childhood narcissist that people have, where perhaps a parent or an aunt or an uncle or even a sibling was very narcissistic and manipulative. And they just, the person who was at the end of receiving that just felt, well, this is how people behave. So this is what I can expect, particularly, for my own case, I think my father was really quite narcissistic. And so for me, this is just how men behaved. And therefore, when I went into relationships with men and men exhibited the same sort of behaviors, I didn't think twice. That was
familiar.
Normal male behavior. And it isn't until much later when somebody says, have you ever looked up narcissism? And you go, no. And you go have a little look and you go, and you look up a bit more and you're thinking, oh, wow, okay, well, that's interesting. But I think what a lot of people get caught up on is they spend so much time trying to understand the person who they believe is narcissistic. So they spend a lot of time understanding the narcissist and their behavior. And that's important so you can recognize them. But then they don't realize that actually they're probably holding onto things, patterns of behavior that aren't serving them due to that experience. For example, people pleasing. A tendency to walk on eggshells around people to avoid conflict, a lack of confidence, second guessing themselves. There's many, many symptoms that can come out. And the really good news is that those can be changed around. And you don't have to understand your narcissist or in many people's cases, the narcissists who have been affecting you or abusing you in order for you to actually let go of the effects of the abuse and move forward. So that's the good news.
That is good news. And because typically narcissists can be quite charming, can't they? So I think there's a lot of charm that can exist. So they do draw people in a particular way, and then that manipulation can occur on sort of a slow burn before you realize what you're really dealing with. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's very fair indeed. And, that's just one of, I kind of like, there are many, many categories that you can put narcissists in. I think to keep it simple, I like to think of 5 general categories, and we can look at all or some of them today, depending on how we go. And I would say, the first one that comes up very frequently is that charmer. And often they're so charming with everybody except the people closest to them. And this leads to real problems because, say, for example, they're constantly charming people in the workplace. They're charming, friends and so on and associates. But at home, their behavior may be very, very different indeed. And in fact, when people cease to fall for all their charisma and see through them, then very quickly that charm disappears and they can become very ruthless indeed.
What are the sort of red flags? Because like we were sort of talking about before, the people that have narcissists around them don't always necessarily recognise that and recognise the traits. So what are the red flags? If you're living with someone and you think, or you know someone, or you're spending time with someone and you think, it could be this, but I'm not really sure and I don't want to label them in case it's not. What sort of red flags should we be looking for?
I think sometimes you can look to yourself and you can look at, well, how are you responding? Are you walking on eggshells constantly? Are you always worried about keeping the peace with them? Are you scared of upsetting them because they'll explode? Do you find yourself going against your own values in order to appease them?
Oh, that's
Do
a good
you feel
one.
like you're being compromised? Are you not doing things that you love? Do you feel like you're being restricted, that you have more in you? Do you feel like you've lost your old self? You used to be different, you used to be happier, you used to be more confident, you used to be fun. Do you feel like all that is disappearing? Now, of course, there's many reasons why we can feel these different things. But I found that when you've got a combination of all these things, and you're also aware that there's somebody in your life who is behaving in a manner that's draining you or manipulating you, then you might start to think, okay, in this case, this might be a narcissist that I have in my life.
What are the other categories of narcissists that you mentioned? So the one you said one was charming, and what are the other? You said 5? Is that right?
Yeah. Well, the next one's the vampire.
Oh.
Oh, they drain you. They drain you emotionally. They always have needs. They have constant crisis. There's always some crisis. And every time you interact with them, they're just pulling from you. They're getting stuff from you. So they can also link into the victim as well a bit. So a victim is quite similar in that they are very pitiful and helpless. Poor me, I can't do it on my own. And they make you feel guilty if you don't help them. Oh, but it's not my fault I can't blah, blah, blah. It's not my fault I'm no good at, oh, you know how I struggle with la, la, la. You know how I don't like crowds and that's why I can't go to the supermarket. And you know how hard it is for me with anything electronic. I just can't. It's just, how stressful, my anxiety, how, on they go. And you're like, oh my God, everything is against them. The world owes them everything. They owe it nothing. And so, so everything they do is to get you to rescue them and to put them first, to make them the priority. And if you ever do anything for yourself that detracts from them, then you are selfish and you're not understanding. You're being mean. So you have all these terms thrown at you. So that's the victim.
Well, that's a tricky one.
Yeah. So we're charming, we're vampire, we're victim.
You're a victim.
Yeah.
And then we've got the puppeteer. Now, you know what a puppeteer is like? If you go and watch a puppet master, you usually can't see them, right? Because they're in the shadows. They're behind the scenes, but they're controlling everything.
Yeah.
And these are quite common. They're quite common in friendship networks. They might be, even in clubs. They're very common in the workplace, where they're sitting in the background and they're spinning stories. They're influencing people. They're playing people off one against another. They're causing an immense amount of confusion. So those are the puppet masters, and they're never in the firing line. They're always in the background, just stirring everything.
And the last one?
The last one is like the king or the queen. Now, these people are superior in every possible way. They are always right. Everything must go their way because they're right. Even if they're wrong, they're right.
They're right. Of course. Of course.
The king or the queen. I love it.
They expect you to be unquestioningly loyal. Otherwise, it's off with your head. Quite literally. Off with it. Like as soon as you turn your back on them, that's it. They can get very, very angry. And this is where, like I say, there are many sorts of narcissists. I'd like to think of 5 within them, though. There's another one that sometimes I talk about, which is the volcano. But you could think of them as coming in maybe within the king or queen, which is the vampire. The volcano, where they just explode. You're always like being so careful around them because they're going to explode. The victim can also be a volcano, though. They can explode and they're poor me and boo-hoo-hoo and everyone's against me and nobody cares and, oh, that's it, you know, if I just died, you know, nobody cares. If I just stopped running this whole place, you know, nobody ever thanks me, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So they can do the volcano, but so can the king or the queen. Where they can, and the king and queen will be, rather than like, oh, woe is me, they will just spit ferocity, you know, anger, like evil words. They will cut you down. There will be spite and scorn, and, you know, you'll just be left as a pile of ashes.
So descriptive. I wish people who would listen would come onto our YouTube channel and watch you explain these, because your hand signals were just amazing through all of that. The volcano, the puppet. So these people typically don't. So they don't know they're narcissists. Narcissists don't know they're narcissists. Do you ever have a case where they do become self-aware, or is there just no hope? Run away in the opposite direction.
If you meet one, get out of there. Get
out now.
You know, you can be aware that you're a narcissist and you can embrace it.
Embrace it.
Some people will. You know, some people will embrace it. They'll say, look, I'm very narcissistic, la, la, la. Generally, they're not the most severe narcissists, though. They tend to be people who do like to have a large sense of control. They do want things to go their way. They do want to feel very, very important. And they're aware that sometimes they will manipulate people and upset people or whatever, and tread on people to get their way. But the fact that they have this, at least some sort of modicum of awareness, means that on occasions they will be able to kind of moderate that a little bit. But somebody who's very severely narcissistic, it just isn't something that occurred to them. In fact, if you were to suggest to them that they were a narcissist, they would put it back on you. And this isn't uncommon, actually, that narcissists get the victim questioning themselves. And so if you've kind of been, you know, it's a terrible word, victim, isn't it? Victim of narcissism. I wish it was a better word. I don't know. But, you know, if you have been
a recipient of a narcissist's behaviour,
wonderful gifts.
Yes.
But quite often, and this happened to me in my journey, is I found myself thinking, oh, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm selfish. Maybe I'm manipulating everyone. Maybe I'm an evil person. Maybe I'm bad. Maybe I'm doing everything wrong. Maybe. And that self-questioning, the fact that you have the ability to self-question and you're doing it in a genuine way actually shows that you're not a narcissist. But it's something a lot of my clients have been through that I work with, is that they've sort of thought, oh, maybe it is me. Maybe the narcissist is right. I'm just not good enough.
And that's that manipulation. They're manipulating your mind to think that way.
Yeah. Are narcissists born, do you think, or is it like the nature versus nurture? I mean, is this a learned behaviour from your parents or your friends or whoever that you're hanging around?
A lot of it is born. I think a lot of it is innate in the nature of the person. You know?
Which makes it even harder to recognise, I suppose, for them.
Yeah.
You know, if they're born like that, if they've always thought that way.
Yeah. It's quite scary, actually, to think that people are born that way and there's nothing you can do about that. I mean,
right.
That's biologically, that's already set in stone that those people just will exist and leave their trail of human debris behind them.
But to your point, when you were sort of saying, you know, you experienced your dad and then your other relationships followed on from that because of what you'd grown up with, I suppose. So I guess narcissists can probably be created in that sense. Like if you're not born that way, if you are somebody that you love or is close to you is going to behave like that all the time, that's a learnt behaviour. Is that fair or no?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No?
I don't know. I mean, maybe. Like if
Fiona disagrees.
Somebody could. Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question. I mean, there's a lot
You are wrong. That is incorrect. I can take it, Fiona.
About nature, isn't there? And nurture, right? And you know, an absolute nurture. takes its part in so many places. And I think often, you know, victims of narcissists are nurtured into believing that they're not good enough, for example, or they're not capable, or whatever it is, or that they should always keep the peace and serve everybody else and do what everyone else says, and that's their role. I think similarly, a narcissist could breed or try and breed their children to behave in the same way, to have the same values that they have, to walk all over other people and so on and so forth. For me, I like to think that there's kind of maybe a little bit of hope there in terms of if it's something that's been bred into somebody from a young age, perhaps as they go through life and have certain experiences and maybe open themselves up to new ways of thinking, that they might start to explore some of these beliefs that they have and choose to turn those around. So I do think, yeah, like if you do sort of nurture it into somebody, there is hope there that, yeah, absolutely, you could undo those. It's going to be challenging because they get so much out of their behavior.
Yeah.
So, you know, they would have to be taught how to get those feelings of superiority or feelings of control or whatever the feelings are from other ways, which is possible, very possible indeed. But they have to want it in order to create it.
So is there hope for the person that's dealing with a narcissist? If you've got a narcissist in your life and you're listening to this podcast and you go, okay, I recognize that now. I can see that this person's behavior is narcissistic behavior. Is there hope for the victim or the recipient, or however you want to put
the narcissist
that?
falls on their sword?
Well, either that or you learn how to deal with that person so that you're not being abused or pushed around or manipulated or whatever it is, but you still have that person in your life if you choose to. You know, if it's a husband or a wife.
Can they be managed? Like, can you manage that relationship?
Yeah, absolutely you can. You know, I've worked with clients who, you know, some have wanted to leave their partners, and at the end of coaching have actually realised that they can accept, you know, the partner as they are. And what they've done is they viewed themselves differently. And so they're no longer hurt by all those, you know, arrows and so on, and manipulations. So it's very possible that you can, absolutely, because, you know, sometimes it's family members, and I've had some clients who've actually just decided to completely separate themselves off from family. You know, they didn't choose family, if we're honest about it, and they just realised that they will have a much happier, healthier life without family. And I've had others who have modified the way that they, you know, view the behaviour and see it with greater understanding, and are able to maintain those relationships. But what they do learn to do is put stronger boundaries in place. And if the narcissist crosses those boundaries, there's like, then they just like break off the conversation, whatever it is. They don't stay in something that's not going to serve in a positive way. So it is very possible to maintain those relationships, to stay within them. You know, if you're partnered with one, or you've got a family member who's one, it doesn't mean you have to cut them out your life forever. But in some cases, actually, that can be the right thing to do. So I think it's very different for each person. And when I work with people, I'm not for telling people stay or go. I'm for helping people to work out what it is that's going to work best for them, you know, and their family, because often they have other family members. You know, if somebody has children, and say, for example, they have a, you know, grown-up person with their own children, and they have a parent or a brother or sister who's a narcissist, they have to work out what's going to be best for their family as a whole. And that's not just them, that's them, their own partner, and their children as well.
Yeah. I think if you recognise the behaviour and you know what you're dealing with, it makes it so much easier to actually know how to move forward, though, right?
And that's hard to do when you're in relationships, you know, to objectively look at what those behaviour traits are. But I think to your point about the boundaries, that, you know, understanding what it is, if my take is from what you've been saying is, if you can see the behaviour and you can understand what impact that is having on you as a person, then being able to put up some boundaries to say, well, hang on, at this point I walk away from that conversation or whatever. That would be a delicate balance between walking away / walking on eggshells. And I imagine that's probably quite a tricky dynamic to figure out when it comes to managing that behaviour in narcissists.
It can be. And I think, you know, it's very difficult to manage anybody's behaviour.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is the hardest thing, right?
Yeah.
We'll know that, right?
For sure.
Partner in their life or whatever, right? Trying to manage and manipulate other people's behaviour is tricky. amazing how good narcissists are at it, really. But
Yeah.
it's tricky, right? They have to be really dedicated to get that level.
Yeah.
Well, they know no other way by the sounds of it. They know no other way.
Yeah.
There's an outcome to get.
Yeah.
But what I think is that it's always best to start with yourself. So rather than, you're not going to change narcissist behavior necessarily, but you can change yourself. And the interesting thing is when we change ourselves, other people change in the way they behave towards us. And that actually changes their behavior, but not through us actively trying to change it. It's a natural, positive outcome from us working on ourselves. So when anybody comes to me and then, how do I change my this or my that, my boss's behavior, I can't. I don't know. We can't change their behavior. They're not sitting with me. And so we work on changing the behavior, the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, and the responses and triggers of the person that's sitting with me. So, if you change the way you're triggered, things don't matter so much anymore.
It sort of seems a bit unfair, doesn't it, that the recipient of the narcissism has to be the one to make all the adaptations. But I guess if you're committed to that relationship and you're committed to having that person in your life, it's what you've got to do to have a happier life for yourself. Look introspectively at your own.
Well, the other thing is my mum actually always has given us this advice as kids, and that is you're responsible for the way that you react. So because you cannot impact anybody else, you can't change anybody else's behaviour, you can only have control of the way that you react to that behaviour.
Yeah.
So
your mum is so wise.
She is very wise. She's incredibly wise. Hopefully she passed a little bit of that down.
Oh, absolutely. You're very wise.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah. But she's right? And that goes with any type of behaviour, narcissism or other behaviour too, right? That you can only control how you respond to it.
Yeah, it's true.
That's right. Yeah, it's like there's the old saying: you can't control what life throws at you. You can only control how you react to it. So, that's exactly it. It's very interesting though, because what I've seen is because I've had this quiz running on my website for some time now. One of the first questions is how many narcissists have you had in your life, and you'd be amazed at how many people have had more than one. They'll be ticking childhood, they'll be ticking work, they'll be ticking, adults, young adulthood, current relationship. So people tend to find that they have more than one. And, in the workplace, it's not like you're choosing who you're being surrounded with. And so I think, you said it was unfair that you have to work on yourself. But I think the great benefit of working on yourself is that then whatever environment you're in, whoever you meet in life, however they behave,
you're equipped
going to be able to be okay. Yeah, so it can leave you much stronger and better equipped to cope and enjoy your life.
Yeah, and I think as well, once you have, it's interesting you say that about multiple narcissists, but I think once you have had one in your life, they're very easy to spot that behaviour and if you have an understanding of what it is. So I think certainly awareness on those behaviours is helpful. But, some people might be listening thinking, well, I don't know anyone like that. But if you do, then, if you know, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And go back and protect yourself from it.
Yeah. Spot it early and put those boundaries up and internalise your own behaviours.
Well, no. Work
on yourself.
Work on yourself. That's the lesson here, I think, Fiona, is it not? We all need to do work on ourselves. So we're not blaming others. We're working on ourselves and making sure we know how to handle ourselves rather than trying to change the other person's behaviour.
I think so. And, letting go of things like the voice. I work with one lady. She's got a testimony on my website. And, she had the voice of her dead mother in her head. It was just there criticising all the time. And so I had a session with her and managed to let go of that voice.
Amazing.
Obviously really freeing for her. But often people, when they come to me, they're carrying, voices or beliefs or feelings. And when you let go of those, then you find that, it doesn't matter who you meet in life, it doesn't affect you. And you can look back on those past times, with learning.
I love it.
Rather than, like feeling sorry for yourself.
Trauma.
Traumatized.
Yes.
Like feeling traumatized. It's a horrible way.
No. And I think when if you do look back on your life, you can spot those people that have had those sort of dents in the armour that have come in and out. So
But there's hope.
Yeah,
I love
there
that.
is.
So
Yeah.
we're working on ourselves, Fiona.
Yeah.
Good.
I think that's a really key takeout. I
Yeah.
think to just look at what you're doing
Yep.
and how you're responding and how you're reacting and what your boundaries are
Yep.
is a really good message. Knowing that, you're
Yeah.
right. You can't control other people's behaviors. So
Or walk away.
yeah, or walk away.
Or walk away.
Sometimes
Yep.
easier said than done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Friendship
Exactly.
sometimes yes.
Yeah.
Maybe marriage not so much.
No, so it's a bit harder.
bit
Yeah.
harder.
Yeah.
Well, look,
Yeah.
if anyone wants to, if they are wondering how much they've been affected by the abuse, because it can affect us in so many different ways, and sometimes we're not even aware.
Yes.
The multiplicity of ways that it can be affecting us. So if they do want to know, the quiz is on my website. It's free.
Excellent.
There you
To
go.
take.
Yep.
So it can kind of give people a bit of an idea, and whether that narcissist was in your past or is still around, it can also help to give you a bit more of an idea of, okay, yeah, I think I am in that sort of situation. So my website is my name,
So
fionaspence.com.au. So if they go to fionaspence.com.au, then there's a quizzes page on there with lots of different quizzes. They're all free.
great.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
That's a great resource. Thank
Amazing.
you for shouting that out.
Yep, we'll pop that on our socials as well.
Absolutely.
Excellent. It's always good to chat, Fiona. You're just a fount of information. Thank you so much for talking us through all of this.
Yes,
My
thank you so
pleasure.
much.
Lovely
Very
managing,
interesting.
guys.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
And thanks,
Thank
Fiona.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.